All right, guys, so I'm going to react to this absolutely amazing speech that this mother out in Glendale, California gave that exposed a third grade teacher discussing the topics of sexual orientation and LGBTQ with her students in the classroom. Now, keep in mind, this is third graders. These are 8-year-olds, okay? And the worst part about this is when the teacher was exposed for trying to do this, the teacher actually went to the administrators and consulted with them on how to cover this up, how to still talk about these topics without getting caught, how to do it in secret, okay? And, you know, one of the reasons why I like doing these videos of these parents at these school board meetings is because the parents in this country, guys, I mean, they really are doing the Lord's work, okay? They really are. They've inspired so many other parents to come out here and to take a stand and to understand what's actually going on in schools. And that is always a good thing for more parents to be involved. Now, the left don't like that because they don't think that parents should have a say in what their child learns in school, right? And what happens when parents aren't paying attention, this type of stuff that's being pushed on them in schools, okay? And in my opinion, I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing so many younger people now saying, hey, we identify with X, Y, and Z. It's because they're being exposed to it in school. They're being exposed to it at a young, impressionable age, right? So now you have these parents standing up against this stuff, and it is most certainly making a difference, right? So for any of you guys that are thinking like, you know, what impact is this actually having? Because we see all these school board speeches, and, you know, I guess some people say, well, what's actually changing, right? We have all these speeches, but what's actually changing? Trust me, guys, I pay attention to this stuff very closely. This stuff is making a difference, okay? What Libs of TikTok is doing is making a difference. There's a reason why the National School Board Association felt the need to go to the Biden administration to possibly try to label some of these parents as domestic terrorists, okay? There's a reason why the left is freaking out about Libs of TikTok simply reposting the things that these teachers are exposing themselves doing in the classroom. There's a reason why they're freaking out about this stuff, because it is making a difference. It is influencing GOP policy at the state level. So this stuff is in fact making a difference, guys. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into this video right here.
I'm sorry, are we doing Bible studies in classrooms? No, we're not, right? So why is this a certain agenda being pushed into the classrooms? I'm here to bring awareness to the emails that had surfaced earlier this month. The one I find most disturbing of all is of a third grade teacher trying to talk about sex with 8-year-old students. These are 8-year-old children that she's trying to hold a sexual orientation class with. A parent shared their concern and their objection to it and pulled their kid out. And instead of this teacher being concerned of what she did wrong, she goes to a district employee and asks for ways of how she can continue to teach sexual orientation to her third grade class.
Ain't that crazy, guys? Ain't that absolutely crazy? A teacher gets called out for teaching about sex with third graders, and instead of reflecting on, you know, should I actually be having these conversations with third graders, she goes and consults with somebody else to try to figure out how to keep doing it in secret, right? How to keep talking about this stuff without parents catching on, right? Almost as if you have these people who want to push this agenda in schools, right? Who've infiltrated these classrooms with the goal of trying to push this stuff on kids, right? They're more concerned about teaching that than they are about teaching what they're actually paid to teach. But I don't know, man. In some of these liberal run schools, maybe that is what they're being paid to teach. Who knows? This is California. Anything goes out there.
You guys want us to believe that this isn't a propaganda, that no agenda is being held? This wasn't just any sexuality class. This was specifically designed 3 days a week. She taught LGBTQ curriculum in her class.
3 days a week. 3 days a week. Okay? How in the world do you have time to teach about sexual orientation and LGBTQ topics 3 days a week to third graders, right? Kids who at a certain point, right, in their learning process, this is the most critical point, right? Elementary school is very important because if you don't get it in elementary school, you're probably not going to ever get it, right? So if you don't learn how to read, write, do math, if you're not doing well in elementary school, the chance of you doing well later on in your academic career is slim to none. So you don't have time to be effing around teaching kids about things that have nothing to do with the core academic material. But this teacher found time to take 3 days out of the week to teach about this stuff, allegedly. This is absolutely insane. Nuts.
It raises the question, how many of those students are excelling in that classroom?
Facts.
Is everybody in that class getting A's in math,
Facts.
English, grammar, social studies? That we can dedicate 3 days a week to teach 8-year-olds about sexual orientation?
Facts. Facts. This is what I'm saying. This is the crazy thing, man. This is what I try to tell Mark Lamont Hill. Look, you want to talk about race and all this other BS you want to talk about? These kids can't read. They can't write. They can't do math. I mean, you want to talk about black kids, right? And the importance of learning about race. These kids can't even read. Black children are reading and doing math at a 15% proficiency rate. 15%. That's terrible. But you want to sit in class and talk about race, right? You want to talk about race as if that's going to help them learn how to read and write and do math. It's not. Again, same thing with this as well, too. These leftists want to push everything on these kids in school except things that are actually going to help these kids be productive citizens in the society, right? They want these kids to be woke LGBTQ activists for the Democrat Party. That's what they want. They don't want these kids to learn how to read, to write, to gain basic skills to function in society, to get jobs, to run businesses, right? They don't want to do any of that stuff. They simply want them to be ignorant, woke LGBTQ activists that are dependent on the Democrat Party, i.e. the government, which makes them permanent lifetime voters for the Democrat Party. That's the agenda. That's the agenda.
I don't care what kind of sex is being discussed. The word sexuality, nudity does not belong in the ears in a classroom of 8-year-old kids. And when a parent showed their concern, what does this teacher do? Completely disregards and goes behind the parent's back trying to find ways of how to continue these lesson plans. The level of disrespect that has been shown to Christian conservative parents is becoming very obvious.
Facts. Facts. The most disrespected group in this country, I'm so serious about this, is Christian parents. That is the most disrespected group of people in this country. They have no regards for those parents.
It's like all of a sudden, just because we don't fit the agenda, we don't fit in within the parameters of the agenda that's being pushed, we're being disregarded and pushed to the side.
Yeah, because you're seen as a threat. They understand that Christian values and the things that Christian parents care about is in direct opposition to the agenda that they want to push. So therefore, you're disrespected, you're tossed aside. They're basically saying, hey, you know what? Let's potentially get the FBI to watch these parents, right? These parents might be dangerous. They might be domestic terrorists. Okay? That's what's going on. That's what's going on.
We're not talking about having people excluded. We're talking about the level of uncomfortability that some parents are experiencing. And that's important. Because if you guys want to talk about including all, listening to all, every student matters, our kids matter too. And we don't want those subjects being taught to children who are just 8 years old.
Facts. And here's the crazy part about this, right? Again, nobody's talking about trying to exclude anybody. What these parents are saying, even the ones that are Christian, right, are like, hey, we're not advocating for Bible study to be taught in school. Now, I mean, some of them are, but a vast majority are not. We're just saying, listen, if we can't have Bible study in school, then why in the world do we have LGBTQ studies in school, right? Why do we have that? Why are we talking about sex in school if we can't talk about this? We just simply want a neutral environment where kids are going to school to learn the things they're supposed to learn. Everything else, all the other stuff, that can be taught at home, right? Things about the Bible, religion, that can be taught at home. Things about LGBTQ topics, sex, that can be taught at home. That's the only thing these parents are saying. They're not even asking for any type of special privileges or anything like that. What they're asking for is neutrality. That's what they're asking for.
And the topics get worse and worse and the subjects get more detailed. And I'm sorry, are we doing Bible studies in classrooms? No, we're not, right? So why is this a certain agenda being pushed into the classrooms? But if we don't take a stand and we don't share our voice, they're just going to sweep this under the rug. Why should a parent overhear her 8-year-old kid being taught about sex?
Mrs. says, "Good morning, Sally and Craig. As you know, I teach 3rd grade. Today I talked to my class about LGBTQ Pride Month and played 2 short videos from YouTube that were geared toward kids. A parent who heard the lesson and discussion made her daughter leave the Zoom and texted me asking when I was done discussing sexual orientation so that she can let her kids back onto Zoom. I was planning on doing more lessons tomorrow and Wednesday, but now I'm afraid to." After sending the email, Mrs. received a response from Mr. Craig Lewis, part of district staff, that said, "Do not be concerned or afraid. Your principal should support you, as I know that our district, including Vivian, does," end quote.
Wow. So again, these school administrators are saying, we support you talking about this with kids in school, right? Don't worry about these parents. Don't be afraid. Don't do any of that. We support you. We're gonna stand behind you as you push age inappropriate topics on children, things that they should not be concerned about. Spending time in class teaching kids things that again they shouldn't be learning. Something that you're not paid to teach them. Okay? Again, this is incredible stuff, man. It's deeper than just the individual teachers. Again, some of these schools, their administration, their staff, they're supporting this stuff, right? That's why these teachers feel so emboldened and empowered to do the things they're doing, right? To hang, flags in their classrooms and stuff like that, even though they know that administrators come in the classroom and they see this stuff. But at the end of the day, the administrators don't care because they support it. They support it. These administrators are being educated in these woke liberal colleges. That's where they go to school. That's where they get their ideology from. And then they go and they become leaders in these schools and they implement that stuff in these schools. That's what's happening.
This district staffer goes even further and gives more media recommendations to the teacher, but says to steer clear of content that says sexual or coming out, since it may raise red flags. In other words, coaching this teacher on proven methods to push her agenda, but to stay under the radar. Immediately after the release of this email chain, the parents at Jefferson Elementary who have had Ms. as their child's teacher reached out to the principal and demanded answers. Why is gender and sexuality issues being taught to 8-year-olds to begin with? With the tremendous loss of learning our children experienced the past 2 years, coupled with the already dismal reading and math performance scores of public schools, why are teachers taking away precious learning time to push their own political and social agendas? In what realm should 8-year-olds be discussing topics around transgenderism, lesbian, gay, queer, and coming out? All words which were repeated many times in these videos. As a parent, I demand an investigation into this matter, the teacher, and the district as a whole. The lid has been flipped and the level of systemic indoctrination is abhorrent.
Facts. Systemic indoctrination. There's actually evidence for that, right? There's more evidence for that than the whole systemic racism conversation that the left loves to have, right? That's what's happening, okay? Yeah, I mean, that's unacceptable. But again, the point of that video and me highlighting that, guys, was to understand that this stuff is not just something that's being done, at the individual level by teachers. There's school administrative staff that are supporting this stuff. And that's why you see these teachers out here that are so emboldened to post this stuff on social media, because low key they're being supported, behind the scenes, right? And that's the problem. And people gotta understand, these administrators, they have master's degrees, doctorate degrees. Where are they getting these degrees from? They get these degrees from these liberal universities, right? And they're taking that ideology, the things they learn in school, and they're implementing them in these schools that they're administrating. And it trickles down. That's how it works. So again, this is why it's important for parents to be involved and to know what's going on in these schools, because it makes a difference, right? It makes a difference. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.